and we'll fill for a minute, and then we'll start the actual episode and quit screwing around with Twitch nonsense that I can fool with some other time. Bunch of Twitch nonsense that for some reason isn't functioning properly. I don't understand. I really don't. You blame Bezos? I mean, you probably should.
Yeah, probably.
Somehow this is Elon Musk's fault, like most things these days. Oh well.
I blame Santos, but you know.
There you go. That's a good one.
He's like, look, as the inventor of Twitch.tv, I resent that. All right then. Well, that's a minute, so we should start the actual episode.
Let's do it.
Oh, jam. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mana Pool. This is episode 677, I double-checked, of the Mana Pool. And I hope you enjoyed last week's Just Chatting episode. I enjoyed that one a lot, actually. If you didn't listen to it, you should, because we talked about a particularly brutal kookaburra that I saw, and then the nostalgia of the Mario movie, and somehow that ended up Marvel Cinematic Universe and DC Extended Universe discussion that went on for a good little while. And then we talked about Final Fantasy games briefly, and then our video game difficulty settings of choice.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Just needed a little more mic, but otherwise it was a really good episode.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear it went well.
And it's possible at some point we will turn that video game difficulty discussion into a full episode at some point. Because, yeah. But enough of last week. We should talk about this week. So, hi, I'm Chewy. I'm the one that's always here. I have these other dorks here that are here during podcasts.
Like me, I'm Brian. I'm here for most podcasts. And I'm the lead rambler and tangent master of the group, and I'm gonna do those things today. I'll try not to do too many tangents, but maybe I'll just interrupt other people when they're trying to interrupt.
All right, next dork.
I'm Mike. I'm the rules guy and game lore guy, and up until recently, I've been on nearly every podcast, so try to get back to it.
Hurry up. I mean, what?
And I'm Dirk, the self-proclaimed greatest man alive and moral comes of the group, and I'm making my intro short, so take it away.
Excellent. So, we have, for a very long time now, like very long, good lord, been doing a segment on this show called Mythic Conscription, where we go back and look at old sets before the mythic rarity existed and try to figure out which cards, if any, would have been mythic if it was a thing. And we've done almost all of the pre-mythic expansion sets now. We're missing exactly 4, not counting core sets or base sets or whatever you want to call them. And that is the Lorwyn Shadowmoor block. Because, yeah, that block had 4 sets. Because it was big set, little set, big set, little set. It was a very weird thing. And then I hit the microphone. Excuse me. Is also... Was this the last block before Mythic?
Yes.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. When we started doing Mythic Conscription, we kind of bounced around a lot. And then we made a concerted effort to be like, no... we're gonna try to do these in order because this is a pain every time to try to figure out. We've done these, we haven't done these, whatever. So I believe we're getting down to the end here.
Yeah, these are the last 4. We'll probably do something with core sets at some point. We haven't quite figured out what yet, but this is it for the expansion sets, because then there aren't any more, because we've done them all already.
Yeah. And interestingly enough, this is also very close to when we started doing the podcast, because we started doing the podcast right before Morning Tide, I think. So
Yeah. Morning Tide was the first time we got to talk about previews live on the show.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Our first podcast was not about Morning Tide, was it? No. Okay, it was an early topic. There we go. So, yeah, this is taking us back to the beginning of the mana pool, and we're just gonna roll around in our glorious nostalgia here. Nostalgia. Tastes like,
Yes.
I don't know,
Nostalgia.
something.
Soy sauce.
Old.
Tastes like old. Ugh.
Werther's candies.
That I don't. All right. So, let's get into it now. I think there are 5 here that I don't think we're gonna count,
Right.
because this is where the first time we got planeswalkers was in Lorwyn, and the second time we got planeswalkers was in Alara, where they instituted the mythic rarity and decided that all planeswalkers for a very long time would be mythic.
That's right.
So I think we should just discount the Lorwyn 5, because they weren't even supposed to be in this set. Let's be real. They were supposed to be in Future Side.
Yeah, they just couldn't get them working yet.
I think I would just say they straight up, everybody here 100% agrees they just would have been mythic, right? Because
Yeah.
Especially
So-
to show them off.
yeah.
So that's... For those of you that don't know, the very first Planeswalkers were a Johnny Goldmane in white, Jace Beleren, or Beleren, it depends on who you ask, in blue, Liliana Vess in black, Chandra Nalaar in red, and Garruk Wildspeaker in green. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and knock those off, because yeah, those would totally have been mythic.
Yeah.
Next.
Yeah, I don't want to spend any time on this because we do need to get to the mythics, but I will say it's really interesting how the art for these 5 characters has changed over the years. To me now, seeing these is almost like concept art. Like, look at how not huge Garruk is. Like, I feel like he slimmed down for this art like a
Yeah.
lot.
He's more like athletic versus bulky. Yeah.
Right. And Liliana's art is very striking here, but I think they changed a lot.
Garruk is more The Rock when he was wrestling versus The Rock now that he's an actor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could get behind that. So, but these guys are mythic, and because they are so obviously mythic, it actually, makes sense to discount them and move on to the actual discussion regarding the other cards in the set, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
So-
I can get behind that.
Let's do another cycle. How about the commands?
The commands, excellent topic, and I would make the case, I think for all of these, that they would all be very good rares. But do you want to tackle them one at a time and kind of talk about what they do, or do you want to just try to address them as a whole?
I mean, I don't know. I just picked a cycle. I'm with you. I think they're very good rares.
So the white one, is essentially different ways of doing wrath effects. So
color card things.
Yeah, it blows up either. So remember the commands were these were a new thing at the time. Now we have multiple different cycles of commands. But these are the original that had 4 effects, and you chose 2. And the austere command was blow up all the artifacts, or the enchantments, or creatures that cost 3 or less, or creatures that cost 4 or more.
yeah, these were the first ones that really they were like seen as charm pluses, because the charms were usually like here's 3 choices, pick one. So the whole choose 2, we were like, wait, what? And it was kind of neat. But white one definitely very solid rare, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
The blue one is stupidly powerful. Just, you remember Cryptic Command? I played Standard back then.
Yeah.
You couldn't get around Cryptic Command.
Yeah. But I mean, despite how powerful it is, it's still just a counterspell.
Yes.
Like, it's a really good counterspell that you can tailor that doesn't even have to counter a spell if you don't want to.
Yeah. It's really good. It's a very good rare. Black one, same?
I don't even remember what the black one does.
Yeah, the black one I think is the weakest of the
Profane
bunch.
command.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right, yeah. Okay, so just because we didn't say it, the blue one's effects are counter a spell, bounce a permanent, tap all of your opponent's creatures, or draw a card. That was the one they printed with a textless version because they hate their players. Not in the way that, like, corporate WotC hates their players now, but in a joyful ribbing kind of way.
I mean, honestly, it was because it was given out for free to players in the player reward program. Remember that? Actually getting good cards for free? Yeah, they haven't done that in a while. But Chewy's point is that it's a very complicated card. So expecting players to remember all the different modes and how they're worded without the words on the card is kind of mean. Just a little bit.
But funny.
Yeah.
So Profane Command is, let's see, target player loses X life, because it's the only one with an X in its cost, right?
Right.
Yeah. Reanimate a creature that costs X or less. Target creature gets -X/-X. Or give up to X target creature's fear. Wow.
Yeah.
Remember
This is
fear?
the weakest one. The red one is the weakest one. We'll get to that. Yeah.
But this one is. I mean, this one's fine. These are, again, good examples of what black can do, but this is. Yeah, this is not super exciting.
Yeah, it's the fact that the first one and the last one are, nice little adders when you want them, but the second and the third modes are just way, way better.
Yeah, like reanimate this thing while killing that thing is it's pretty great.
Yeah.
The red one, the Incendiary Command. Let's see.
Got tangled up in this power cord. What is going on?
Why are you bad at this, Mike?
I don't know.
Look, it's my job to get tangled up in cords here.
Yeah. What even is this cord?
Oh my god, something in Mike's apartment is a mimic. So the Incendiary Command domes a player for 4, deals 2 to each creature, blows up a non-basic land. Oh, or each player discards all the cards in their hand and draws that many. I forgot about that one.
Yeah. And it costs 5.
Yeah. And like 5 for any 2 of those is okay, I guess. It's not bad.
Yeah, it's okay.
But it's not mythic. And then the green one, I remember the green one also being really good. Let's see.
Yeah, I think
Primal
people
command.
discounted it early on, but then they found out how good it was.
Yeah, so it's gain 7 life. Put a non-creature permanent on top of its owner's library. Target player shuffles their graveyard into their library, or tutor for a creature. What a weird card.
Weird abilities are decent, are broad enough that they can be used in different decks.
Yeah. In chat a little while ago, Random KO pointed out it's not only the modes, but also the order of the modes. And that's something that's really highlighted on Primal Command. The second and third one, if you really want to get rid of something, you can put it on top of its owner's library and then make them shuffle their graveyard into their library.
Oh,
Because they always happen in that order.
that's true.
Or, similarly, for the third and fourth one, if you want to get a creature from your graveyard, if you really want to get a creature from your graveyard back into your hand, you can shuffle your graveyard into your library and then search your library for a creature card and put it into your hand.
It's been so long since I thought about this card. This all, like, this isn't news to me, but it's things I haven't thought about in, probably 10 years. Random Keho says, if we were to rank the commands nowadays, what would it be? Oh, God, I don't know. We got a whole set to get through. Just real quick, I'll say blue, white, black, green, red?
I might say green, black, red, but yeah.
Yeah, I had to think about that, but one of those two for me.
Blue, yes. White, yes. Green, I think. And the last two are almost interchangeable. But they're not mythic.
And Dirk is abstaining.
White and green, I definitely go with. Blue one, I would probably include as well. Red, just that's not really anything that I do.
Well, no, we're
so
ranking
it'd
them.
Be last. So it'd be like white, green, blue, black, red.
So Dirk is ranking them in terms of whether or not he would use them personally.
Yes.
Okay.
That's a ranking.
That is a ranking. I just wanted to clarify for everyone listening. All right, so that's the commands. How about another cycle? Let's do the Incarnations.
Which I thought we were probably going to do. And these, I think these could be mythic, especially once you take out the planeswalkers, because I don't know how many cycles of things you want all to be mythic, but these are strong contenders to them. They are not on the same level as the original Incarnations, because they don't do what the original Incarnations did. The original Incarnations were uncommons in Torment with two rares and Judgment. And we've already talked about them before, but these don't do anything from the graveyard. In fact, they can't go to your graveyard, but they all have fairly big effects on the board, right? So let's take the white one. Let's take Purity. For 3 and 3 white, so that's a pretty hefty mana commitment there to white, is a 6/6 with flying. If a spell or ability would deal damage to you, prevent that damage, you gain life equal to the damage prevented this way. When Purity is put into a graveyard from anywhere, shuffle it into its owner's graveyard. The ability is a bit narrow in that, like, half the decks aren't going to care about that at all, and the other half are going to go, wow, that just destroys everything I was going to do. So, but it's a big effect. It's a big creature. It can't ever die permanently unless you exile it. Which at the time
was way less common than it is now.
Yeah. Guess how many O-rings existed when this was printed?
Like
none.
The one in this set, right?
Yeah, was this the first set for O-Ring?
This was the introduction of Oblivion Ring.
Ow. Wow.
Yeah,
Was
because it had
this set or the next one where Unmake showed up?
That
Unmake
that
was in Shadowmoor.
Yeah.
yeah.
Or no, it was in
Eventide.
No, it was an Eventide. It was
yeah.
an Eventide. So it was printed basically almost a year after this set came out. So, but exiling was not something that we had nearly as much access to as we do now.
Yeah.
So,
Or our good buddy
yeah.
Path to Exile wouldn't show up until Shards Block.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'm thinking could be Mythic, but tell me your guys' thoughts on this, and we can move on to the others in the cycle if you'd prefer.
Well, the downside to me is they're really expensive. And
That-
they're very color specific, as in it's not 6, it's 3 and 3 of the color they're
Yeah.
assigned.
Yeah, you have to be in there. They're not very splashable. But, that's because some of their effects are just so big and offer lots of fun tricks to do. Like, Purity doesn't say that spell or ability has to be controlled by another player. You could even do some silly things with spells that would damage you as part of a drawback and just turn it into a benefit.
Yeah.
Mike, they don't print cards with drawbacks,
I mean, they used to.
but they used to. Ah, jinx.
Because they were always the cards that dealt 3 damage to all players or
Yep.
something of that
Yeah.
sort. So yeah.
Oh man, flame break, but there is the hefty, as you said, there's a hefty white commitment to this. So,
But the
but to me,
side
sorry, go
is
ahead.
they're big.
Yes.
Like I think like 6/6 is kind of like that's the white one. I know the green one's huge.
Aren't they
Yeah, they're all
6/6?
6/6s for 6, and they have
Yeah.
some other, combat relevant ability.
And they
Combat
can't
relevant key. Yeah.
they can't go to the graveyard, so that means if they die or they're taken out of combat, they're going back to your grave or to your library. So Mike would be happy and not have to worry about being decked, at least with that. Does that help?
But then
It's
not in my
mostly there to
graveyard.
prevent it from being. I think that clause is mostly there to keep them from being cheated out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, discard them and then reanimate them. But so, but I mean,
they're not
honestly,
called reincarnates; they're called incarnates, incarnations.
Wow.
I'm gonna have to remember that one. But honestly, again, the big size and if anything, even the color commitment is, to me, this ticks it kind of in that mythic direction because it shows this is really the embodiment of what this color means. So, when you saw that 4th black in Phage's mana cost, that it catches your attention. It says, "Yo, you've really got to be like very, very into swamps to make this work,"
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
Chewy, what do you think? I feel like everybody else has had a bit of a say.
I mean, yeah, just all of that. I have no additions. Let's run through the rest of them real quick. Guile. Let's see. Can't be blocked except by 3 or more creatures. And okay, hang on. If a spell or ability you control would counter a spell. Let's read the
Instead, exile that spell, and you may play a card without paying its mana cost.
There we go.
I think he was trying to find the Oracle text. So
Yeah, I've got the
Which is what he just read. So yeah.
right.
So yeah, it steals the card that you've countered. So Purity reverses damage from spells or abilities. Guile steals spells that you counter. What does Dread do? Dread has Fear. Remember Fear?
Remember Fear?
And whenever a creature deals damage to you, destroy it. Oh, right.
It's a no mercy. Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I had forgotten about Dread.
Hostility was an interesting one in red. Had haste because of course, and if a spell you control would deal damage to an opponent, prevent that damage. I'm gonna pull up the Oracle text as well. Sorry, this is what I get for. Create a 3/1 red elemental shaman creature token with haste for each 1 damage prevented this way.
Yeah, so if you throw a lightning bolt at someone's head, then they wouldn't take damage, but you'd get 9 points of combat damage to throw at them.
Yeah.
For hostility, you really have to go out of your way to make it work, but the benefit you get is just wow.
And if you're playing lots of red, you pair that with Incendiary Command. Just be sure not to go deals 4 damage to target player and then deals 2 damage to each creature, because you'll blow up all of your...
All the stuff you just made.
Yep.
It won't happen in the middle of the command resolving, but yeah, be careful about stuff like that.
Oh, that's true. Never mind. Ignore that. Feel free to do that. And what's...
In fact, that's a great plan because it might knock out some blockers.
What's the... Vigor. It's what I've used for the backdrop. See, look at him. He's a big cow man. He's so cute. Anyway. So what's Vigor do?
Trample. If damage would be dealt to another creature you control, prevent that damage. Put a +1/+1 counter on that creature for each 1 damage prevented that way.
So it makes
creatures
damage grow your creatures.
Yeah.
So yeah, each one is very big and has some manner of evasion. Sort of. I mean, haste is sort of evasion because they don't have a turn to get ready for it.
Yeah.
And does something, like we said, very much something big and splashy, very much in the color that they're coming from. So yeah. I think these would be mythic. Think that's a pretty easy call.
Oh.
Yeah.
I like
agree.
I punch you and a muscle grows and it's where I punched you.
Yeah. All right then. So, should we just do the colors now as usual?
Yes, now that we've knocked out those cycles.
So, in white,
white.
I could almost see the Arbiter of Nullridge being a mythic just because it's a life total setting ability.
Could be.
Like biorhythm, but, don't go wide, go big.
So for 7, it's a 5/5 with vigilance. When it enters the battlefield, each player's life total becomes the highest life total among all players, which really only seems good to me is if you're the one that's about to die.
Yeah, it is.
Which I think keeps it from actually being mythic, because it's splashy, but in like a dumb way. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, it's not splashy in a useful way. It's splashy in a, oh, come on, this game's never going to end kind of way.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't feel like there's really a strategy to its use. Other than, we all the damage and everything we've just been doing earlier, it's reset.
I'm playing giants and you're faster than me, but I made it to 7 mana, so I don't die. Ha!
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, white's a little...
There is a legendary.
I mean, yeah, but she kind of sucks.
I mean, I think she was kind of sort of important to the plot, but not really. What do we think of Favor of the Mighty? I had this as a question mark.
I thought about this one too.
It was a tribal enchantment, which yes, they added another super type for Lorwyn, tribal. And since Lorwyn,
Oh,
they've tried very hard to forget
sorry,
it.
not a super type. It's a card type.
Yeah, it is a
Card
type.
type.
Yeah,
sorry.
they added.
Yeah,
Well, technically, they didn't add it for this set because wasn't there one in Future Sight?
I think
There was at least one. There was a rebel one, and I can't remember if there was another one.
but it was like it was showcased in Future Sight, but then this was the tribal set. So
Yes.
Well, yeah.
It was a major part of this block.
right.
Yeah, but I'm saying they didn't add tribal and planeswalkers in this set to the rules.
Yes.
Because wouldn't that be crazy to get 2 whole card types in one set? Right? That hasn't happened, right? Like, card types are pretty hard to come by. Like, we just got battles, but
Yeah.
But that they don't just crank them out.
not yet. Right before Magic dies, I predict they will be cranking out
5
card
new
types,
card types.
desperately trying to grab people's attention.
Here's the coupon card type.
Oh God, don't say that. They'll hear you.
But so Favor of the Mighty for 1 and a white is a tribal enchantment giant because tribal cards all have to have a creature type even if they're not creatures. So they count as casting a giant card, for example. Each creature with the highest converted mana cost has protection from all colors. And I looked at this one, I'm like, that is a very interesting card. Is a potentially huge effect, especially for just 2 mana. Now, because it's not necessarily creatures you control, you could turn around and the opponent's like, okay, here's a 3-drop that's bigger than anything you've got, ha ha ha. But then, in theory, if you're building this deck correctly, you're probably gonna have a follow-up. So, I had this one potentially. I didn't know that white was super deep. I feel like Mirror Entity, Mirror Entity, is interesting, but is more infamous for making the most players rage quit Magic Online.
And why is that?
Because there was this whole thing when Lorwyn came out where if you clicked on the card just when you had priority, the game might think that you were activating its cost for 0.
Oh,
so,
no.
yeah. Which means all of your stuff dies, no matter how big you are.
Yeah, so Mirror Entity, real quick, has the ability that says, pay X, creatures you control become XX and gain all creature types until end of turn.
Yeah. And
so if you pay 0,
thing,
then they become 0/0s until end of turn, and whoops.
Yeah.
God, I'd forgotten about that. That's hilarious.
But it was super frustrating at the time as someone that played Magic Online. But is it Mirror Entity Mythic? No, I think it's really cool. But it's not Mythic unless somebody wants to make the case for it. But I'm not trying to get too far away. What do you guys think of what do you guys think of Favor of the Mighty?
I mean, I did think about it when I was going through this earlier, but I didn't think about it for very long.
Okay.
Just because
it's interesting. It feels a little narrow.
Well, just because it's not each creature you control with highest converted mana cost. It's just creatures. Mm-hmm. So, like, if someone has a board wipe and then plays anything, then you can't kill it until you play something first that's bigger.
I think if it was creature you control, I don't know that it's too good, but that's pretty good. It's definitely better than what it is, for sure.
So yeah. Nah.
Okay.
Kind of meh about it.
Dirk is meh about it.
Meh
Because
about it.
yeah, it's not. Like it's not. I don't feel like it's gonna change the game overly.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
if you've
like
got
it will. It's each creature the highest. Because yeah, you're everyone gets a creature that has this.
no,
Not necessarily.
like it's not each person's highest converted mana cost. It's the creature with what costs the most. So if there's two things that cost 5 and that's the most expensive, then they both have protection
then they
from all
both have the
colors.
protection.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things this card doesn't say.
Yeah.
See where you're coming from, Dirk. Here's one last thing I'm going to say about it, and I'm going to let it go. Imagine not playing this on turn 2. Imagine playing this on turn 7 when you've got the biggest creature, and then you do something stupid with that creature, like just swing past their everything.
I'm almost certain playing this on turn 2 is objectively the wrong choice every time.
Yeah, you should be setting yourself up for... You should be ramping on turn 2.
Yeah. You should never play Favor of the Mighty on turn 2 with your 2 mana. Yeah, this is not a thing that you play and then just let it affect the game. This is a thing that you play when you've got the big guy.
So, but if you still feel like it's not mythic, I'm okay with that. We can just keep moving. I don't know that white is super deep once you move past the Incarnations, but
yeah, like Gale Powder Mage is a fun card because it's got the slow blink. It blinks something and it'll come back at the end of turn when it attacks. But that's not mythic. Hoofprints of the Stag is just a dumb white rare enchantment.
Yeah.
It's a card I love, but it's not good. Like, it doesn't do anything impressive. It's just kind of there.
Melissa's Pride is, again, a neat card, but it's not mythic.
Yeah. I could see Mirror Entity being mythic, actually.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, if we had to pick another white card, I think it would be Mirror Entity. Just because of the ability to, like, later in the game, and I remember this being an argument at the time. Later in the game, it's an overrun. And it's not, but it's the closest thing white has to an overrun. And then like, I don't think any of the champion rare creatures are any good, much less mythic.
Well, two exceptions.
Okay, that's true. Yeah.
But we'll get to those in just a minute. In the next color.
But yeah,
so
I'm on the side of Mirror Entity over Favor of the Mighty or basically anything else in white.
What about, because you started with this, what about Arbiter of Knowledge? Or Null Root, sorry.
No.
Yeah, I feel like
okay.
No, yeah.
Okay. So possibly Mirror Entity, definitely Purity. Okay.
Yeah, and a Johnny who doesn't count.
Right.
Okay. Blue.
Blue has
Forced Fruition.
Forced Fruition.
I mean,
listen to this. So for 4 blue, it's an enchantment. Whenever an opponent plays a spell, that player draws 7 cards.
Best card ever.
Mike was trying real hard. Were you trying to like combo off or something?
Yeah, I was trying to win the game. I was going to win the game with Firestorm, but I didn't count properly. And I ended up decking myself after I finally cast Firestorm and put it on the stack. I was like, oops.
It was awesome. I cannot be objective about this card because it was mine, and Mike did it to himself. So.
I think it was just you two left in that game, right?
I thought
No,
it was
I think
more than
everybody
that.
else was around.
Yeah,
I think
everyone
everybody
else
else was
was
around.
around. That's how I had enough. That's how I was going to have enough targets to make that firestorm work.
He was under
Oh.
no pressure whatsoever, and he just went for it. It was
And I think you
beautiful.
realized, like, 2 spells from the end, you looked at your deck, and you thought about it for a second, and you said, oh no.
I don't
Something
know.
like that, yeah.
Then I think I would have stopped.
I don't know. I
I
think you
didn't
maybe
realize
just
until it was like finally too late.
See, I think that's why I'm thinking it was just you two left. Because I know we were all there, but I don't remember if we were in the game. Because I think once you realized, oh, it doesn't work, I think you said, well, screw it, I'm going to do it anyway.
I kind of feel like that's where you were.
Huh.
But is it mythic? I mean, we have this great story about it, but I mean, target player. It's not target player, but a player draws 7 cards is really interesting. But it does cost 6,
And
it's
you don't
only
get a benefit from it.
opponents. You
Yeah.
don't get a benefit, and so it
Unless your
definitely is a.
opponent dies.
What's that?
I said, unless your opponent dies, you don't get a benefit.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's the point. It's a really weird angle on a powerful repeatable mill card.
Yeah. And I guess the thinking is if you're playing blue, then you can, and you're playing this card, then you're playing some manner of control, and you can stop your opponent from being able to win with all the cards they're drawing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't be objective about this one either. Because of this one story that we have. Ben did say draw 7 cards is a very mythic phrase.
It is.
It really is.
I'm thinking probably not, but again, it's just too hard for me to be objective. So there are 2 champion cards in blue that are both fairly powerful effects. And honestly, when I was playing Standard, the one of these I thought would be the unbeatable thing turned out to be and the other one turned out to be stupid, just like
the
in
unbeatable
the worst
thing.
way. The unbeatable thing.
Ooh, let's do the bad one first.
All right, so the bad one, unfortunately, is Wanderwine Prophets. I tried to make this work, but it's too tough. Wanderwine Prophets for 4 and 2 blue, so it's 6, is a 4/4 Merfolk Wizard. It has Champion of Merfolk, and the way Champion works is, as this creature enters the battlefield, you sacrifice it unless you exile another, and it will specify a creature type. So that you control. And then when this card leaves the battlefield, return the exiled card to the battlefield. So basically, it subs out for a generally smaller one. And this one has a powerful effect. When Wanderwine Prophets deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice a Merfolk. If you do, take an extra turn after this one. And I was like, this is great. And I tried to find a way to like make Merfolk tokens and do all sorts of stuff to just kind of keep it going. But it costs 6. It's easily destroyed, and sacking a Merfolk every turn is actually kind of hefty. So it looks splashy, pun super intended.
Boo.
But it, to my knowledge, except for like my own creativity, maybe somebody else's, it didn't really go anywhere. So could it be mythic? I mean, the potential. Anytime we get extra turns, that's a box that you check. And then the potential to do it more than once. Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, that's another mythic phrase. Take an extra turn.
Yeah. Although we've seen several, like, since the inception of Take an Extra Turn, we've seen Take Extra Turn spells that aren't mythic. And my brain has a hard time accepting that. But I'm pretty sure up to this point, we have said something to the effect of, oh, it says take an extra turn, it's probably Mythic. But because this one isn't just a spell that does that, it's shenanigans. And it's a lot of shenanigans.
It is.
Like,
again,
you've got to
you
have
think,
another
oh,
merfolk.
okay.
You've got to have
You gotta
this
hit
thing.
them.
You have to let this thing get through somehow. Which, unless you're playing, something to give your merfolk, I don't know, island walk, and playing that spell that turns a land into an island.
Which is a thing you could do in this set, but
Yeah, I can't remember the name of that card because it drew a card too. It was like ridiculous.
Yeah.
What is that card called? Damn it!
Fretting Seas?
That was the one.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Wasn't
There
that
was
in this
also-
set?
No, that came later, but Aquatect's Will was in this block.
Oh yeah. See, I get the feeling that all of the shenanigans you had to jump through make it, not mythic-y, but that could just be, nostalgia, the complete lack of nostalgia talking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this one's a little easier for us to judge because even though, yes, I tried to make it work for a minute, it became very obvious very quickly it wasn't going to go anywhere. So I don't have the same sort of stories, But it's not always just about what is the most powerful card.
Yeah.
For contrast, what was the stupidly powerful champion card?
Mistbind freaking click.
This card defined standard. I'm not even kidding.
He's not even kidding.
Nope.
Like, blue-black fairies was the boogeyman in standard for a very long time.
Oh.
And it spread
Was it
into
also-
other formats too, didn't it?
Yeah, was it also an extended deck, or had that already ended?
I don't remember.
I can't remember either. It might have been. Ironically now, Merfolk is the bigger modern deck, but not at the time.
Yeah, I think Modern started with Bitter Blossom on the ban list or something.
I think it was because Mistbind Click was one of the key cards. So what does Mistbind Click do that makes it so offensive?
All right, so for 3 and a blue, it's a 4/4 fairy wizard with flying. 4/4 for 4 with flying, no problem. It has champion a fairy, which, okay, that's fine. When a fairy is championed with Mistbind Click, tap all lands target player controls. Which you're like, oh, that's kind of bad. Oh, and it has flash. And that's the kicker right there.
Yeah.
Because untap, upkeep, draw, up, I will flash in a Mistbind Click so you can't do anything. Oh.
Yeah.
All right then.
So it was the card. Sorry, go ahead.
And it, like, the fact that it champions a fairy, we'll get to Bitter Blossom in a minute, but like Bitter Blossom's lone drawback was that it pinged you every turn. And, a good player would wait for that to kill you. If there was no way through, they would hunker down on defense and let the Bitter Blossom kill you. But Mistbind Click, you could just not die because you would champion it away and then start flying over for 4.
Totally
And-
even got that low.
Yeah, and just the whole deck was just awful.
Too, you'd think it was Wonderwine Profits, but no, it's Mistbind Click that's actually stealing the opponent's turn.
Yeah. They still get to
And,
draw
yes.
and attack if they want. And that's it.
And I played in at least one standard tournament where, like, every other round was a fairies player. And Bitter Blossom, which was not released yet, it's in the next set. But Mistbind Click was a huge part of that.
Oh God, Bitter Blossom wasn't until Morningtide, really?
Morningtide.
Yeah, I can't remember later.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. It's kind of like how Affinity was big with Broodstar, and then Arcbound Ravager came out in the next set and just went leveled up. It was already a good deck and then became Affinity. So
yeah, like the Spell Stutter Sprite down here is another large pain in the ass, but it's not rare, but it's only here because of probably a secret lair Mike said earlier in the chat.
I checked them.
So yeah, Mistblind Click was by far the powerhouse of the two champion cards. But would it have been Mythic? I don't see it because I don't think so.
I think Wonder One Prophets would have had a better chance of getting Mythic treatment than Mistbind Click.
Right. I agree, because just because a card is powerful does not mean that it is necessarily Mythic. So I agree.
And it does say take an extra turn after this one.
Yeah. Any other blue cards that kind of caught anybody's attention? Because I think, again, ignoring the Jace, I think that was pretty much it for me.
Yeah, like, I love Fathom Troll, but it's not Mythic at all. It's just a bad card draw spell.
Yeah.
Sword of Temptation is really good, but
very good.
It's not Mythic either.
Yeah.
It's a 4-mana 2/2 flyer that is also a control magic. So you snatch a creature as long as you have the Sword of Temptation. Which, since it's just a 2/2, it's pretty not too hard to deal with. Like, I remember thinking Scion of Una was going to be a nightmare.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because it's a fairy lord. Like, it gives your fairies +1/+1 and Shroud, and it has Flash. But it was not anything super awful either.
No.
Yeah, it turns out when you just counter their spells with Spellstutter Sprite and lock up their turns with Mistbind Click, they don't really need the extra +1/+1 or Shroud to win the game.
Right.
That's true.
It just isn't making that big a difference.
Especially once you draw the second Mistbind Click and you can get a champion chain going.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Been there.
It's just awful. Everything is awful all the time.
This is just bringing up all sorts of PTSD for me. So and then Surge Spanner again looks powerful because it feels like a trade wind rider or something where you can just bounce stuff all the time, but it's a 2/2 for 4 that still has a mana requirement, and it's telegraphed from a mile away. So
yeah. When it becomes tapped, you can pay 1 in a blue, and if you do, you can bounce a permanent to its owner's hand.
Which does not say non-land, but
sure.
Still.
But yeah, I don't think there was much that made you tap Merfolk for reasons.
You'd have to
yet. There was a couple.
You'd have to probably attack with it.
Yeah.
Which then creates its own issues.
Yeah. So instead of bouncing something you want to bounce, you would have to bounce the thing that could block and kill it. Which, meh. That's just fighting a losing battle. So, yeah. Blue had stuff that was ridiculous, and then nonsense. We didn't even mention the poor Shapesharer because I got like 8 copies of Shapesharer. No one cares about Shapesharer. So, all right, Black.
All right.
Is Kolfinor's Plans one of those weird mythics?
Man, I don't know.
What's it do, Mike?
When it's an enchantment for 2 black, and when it enters the battlefield, you exile the top 7 cards of your library face down. But you can look at them, and you can play the cards exiled with Kolfinor's Plans. You skip your draw step, and you can't play more than 1 spell each turn. So it's like draw 7 for just 4 mana, but then you are stuck. You are stuck.
Yeah. Now, notice it doesn't say you can't play more than 1 spell from Kolfinor's Plans.
Right.
You just can't play more than 1 spell, period.
I remember I played Kolfinor's Plans in an EDH game one time, and someone, I want to say Mike, naturalized it.
It was me.
No. It was Kolfinor's Urn, and you let your commander go hide in it. And then
That's right. And you were like, "Are you sure you want to do that?" I'm like, "Yeah, this way I'll get it back faster." That's right.
Oh, was that Mike? I thought it was me.
It was me.
I think that's probably because I have Kolfinor's Plans and I've never put it into a deck. Because every time I think about it, I'm like...
It's because it's bad.
No. Yeah.
So, yeah. That's a weird card.
What do you think about Karen Wanderer?
I really love Karen Wanderer.
I don't know about Mythic, but it's kind of an interesting effect. The art has always kind of weirded me out.
So for 5, it's a 4/4 Changeling. By the way, Changeling is in this set. This is where this came from. Which means the card is all creature types at all times. But it says, as long as a creature card with flying is in a graveyard, Karen Wanderer has flying. The same is true for Fear, First Strike, Double Strike, Death Touch, Haste, Landwalk, Lifelink, Protection, Reach, Trample, Shroud, Vigilance, or you can get your degree. You can major in business management or accounting. Ask your parents, kids. But yeah, I love Karen Wanderer. I have several copies that always end up getting cut from EDH decks. But yeah, it doesn't, because it's base 4/4 and it costs 5. It just never makes the cut.
Yeah. Because it's so dependent on what else has happened in the game, in order to be any good.
Yeah.
But I think it has what it takes to be Mythic at this time.
Oh. Okay, you're weird. I mean, what? Holy crap, I forgot about Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize is not Mythic, but...
It's super powerful, like to the point that when they said we were at a local game store, Lucky's, a while ago, and some guy was just like, "Yeah, I hear they're printing Thoughtseize," and I'm like, "You're full of it," because, it's Thoughtseize. It turned out they were right, and I felt kind of dumb, but it was Thoughtseize. So why would they reprint it? Turns out they did. But not Mythic. It's a great discard spell. That's all it does.
Yeah. Like, a lot of this is just kind of crap.
Yeah, I don't see anything else in Black. at all.
I love the effect of Nettlevine Blight, just because like Tackle Maggot has always been one of my favorite card designs, and this is like that, but less stupid. But it's not good. Like,
No. Yeah. No. Is it? Okay. I hate to say this, but is it Kolfenir's plans? Not because it's good, and not really because it's bad, but because of just it has all this. It's almost like crying to be like, "Hey, find a way to use this," and so it doesn't show up in packs as often.
Maybe just for weirdness factor.
Yeah.
yeah, I really can't make a case for Cairn Wanderer myself, just because it's kind of whatever.
Yeah. But otherwise, I mean, now there are gold cards and colorless cards in this set, so we'll get to those. But I'm not really seeing anything else in black.
I forgot about the gold cards. Right. Yeah. All right. Let's. Derek, you awake?
Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
There's just black is.
Yeah.
I mean, there's cool stuff, but I mean nothing that's mythic.
Yeah. Like I love Knucklebone Witch and Mad Auntie. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
they are solid.
And like you guys said, Thoughtseize was on my list, but again, I'm like, it's great, but not mythic.
Yeah. All right, then let's go to red. I guess we should start with Aisling because she was an actual character, like story character.
Mm-hmm.
No.
No, awesome, but no.
I mean, she is a major part of the story, but I agree that the card is not a mythic card.
Yeah, like I don't even like Aisling all that much. Just because, like, using her ability means she's gonna die.
Yeah.
That always made me sad. I'm like, oh, I put all this effort into making a big creature, and then I blow her up, and then she's dead. I'm like, oh.
But it also deals that much damage to each player, so maybe your opponent's dead too.
Oh, that does do player, doesn't it? I always forget that part.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Aisling the Pilgrim was the star of the very first widely known joke commander deck. It was Aisling the Pilgrim as your commander and 99 mountains. The plan was play Aisling and then pump her up, and then pump her up, and then pump her up, and then blow her up. And it was silly. This was back before we had cards designed for Commander, and before people were setting up, turn 2 kills in Commander. Yeah. This is back when Commander was just a bunch of goobers sitting around a table. The way that us dorks still play Commander.
Yes. The good old days.
The good old days. Say the whole
time. What about Aisling's Prerogative? It's not a powerful card, but it's
a weird card.
It's a weird card. The effect isn't. It's weird, but I feel like the effect isn't big enough, or
yeah, that's what I came up with when I was doing the homework for the set earlier. Was Aisling's Prerogative could be nah, it really couldn't. So for one in a red, as Aisling's Prerogative enters the battlefield, you choose odd or even. And there's reminder text, 0 is even for the purposes of this card. Is 0 even, Mike?
Yes, it is. Also.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I couldn't remember if mathematicians would yell at me if I said that or not. I don't mean in Magic, I mean in math.
Yeah.
Okay. Each creature with the converted mana cost of the chosen value has haste, so odd or even, And each creature without converted mana cost of the chosen value enters the battlefield tapped. So it's sort of like even and odd Urabrask instead of mine and yours Urabrask.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, that's it.
Yeah.
Which, like, you could totally set up a deck that's Ashling's Prerogative and, like, a bunch of creatures that are either even or odd mana cost and a bunch of spells that are the other and go to town. But, meh. Ben says Ashling's Prerogative is a red rare enchantment. Exactly.
Yes. Red rare enchantments, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, we never said what Ashling herself did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
1 in a red, you get a 1/1 legendary elemental shaman. And she has 1 great big long activated ability. So pay 1 in a red. That's the cost. Put a +1/+1 counter on Ashling. If this is the 3rd time this ability has resolved this turn, remove all +1/+1 counters from Ashling, and it deals that much damage to each creature and each player, including herself. This is what Chewie was saying earlier, that she's going to get taken out too.
Yeah. Unless you give her pro red or something, which is funny.
Yeah. And, you know, you don't have to do all, you know, it's not like you activate this 3 times in the same turn and, you know, just get 3 damage out of it. No, of course, you know, you can build it up turn over turn over turn. Just don't do it more than twice if you want to keep going for later. And that's a pretty small price to pay, only 2 mana to put a +1/+1 counter on a creature, especially one that's cheap to begin with. You just have that throttling on how much you can do in a turn if you want to continue.
Yeah. But that doesn't seem mythic-y to me. Not to me, anyway. Chat thinks Hamlet back Goliath is a borderline mythic.
It does get, like, stupidly crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it can grow very, very fast.
Yeah.
For 6 and a red, it's a 6/6 giant warrior. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield, wait, at all? Like,
Yeah.
not even just on your side.
Yeah.
Right.
You may put X 1/1 counters on Hamlet back Goliath, where X is that creature's power. I mean, it's big, and sometimes we just don't like just big stuff, and it doesn't have trample, but gee gosh golly. I mean, like, my word. To call it big is not just an understatement. This is the sort of thing that, like, you needed Magic Online and I guess now Magic Arena to really calculate. Because it's stupid.
Yeah, like the Hamlet back. I had the Hamlet back Goliath in my my Chuck deck because, like, after one round, you just of people playing creatures, he's like stupidly big, and I just attack one person with it, and then throw it at another person, and then go, all right. And it starts off as a 6/6, which seems a bit much.
Yeah. I think that's a trade-off for just making it have to cost 7.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it would be a real downer if it cost 7 and it was even a 5/5. Just be like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to play with this.
Yeah, I see that. But yeah, I agree that this is borderline Mythic. This is sort of like whatever we had in like Mirror Entity in White. Like if we don't have anything better, then it's gonna be this. But yeah. Now we're thinking in terms of multiplayer because that's our default setting. But like in Standard, this was not that great.
No.
Because your opponent would just go, oh, and then not play a creature and then kill it.
But this is like the epitome of the big dumb effect.
Yeah, like this is Timmy going, ha 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 ha, which is why I like it so much. There's really not much else going on in red there is there.
No, I mean,
Like at all.
there's some other pretty cool stuff, but it's just pretty cool.
Yeah, like Heat Shimmer's pretty cool.
Yep.
Nova Chaser being a 10-2 with trample is hilarious, but not like, good. Didn't I have that in my Chuck deck for a while? I think I did.
Makes sense.
I think I had to take it out because I didn't have enough elementals to play it. It kept getting stuck in my hand. I'm like, damn it.
Yeah, you have to have some instant speed way to sacrifice it in response to the champion trigger.
Yeah. Which, I mean, Bloodshot Cyclops can totally do that, but in our games, just up and dealing 10 to one person like that without warning usually meant I was going to die. So... And then, yeah, Wild Ricochet is awesome, but it's a rare... it's a rare deflect and copy. Like,
It's
all right.
both, which is great, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Sunrise Sovereign is just a lord, although it does give your giants trample, but that doesn't make it Mythic. That just makes it more useful.
And I got so many copies of Nova Chaser, and I'm like, I've got to find a way to make this work. Any day now.
Yeah. We've got our top men on it.
They've come up with nothing.
It can drive literally any vehicle.
I think we lost Chewie. And that's great. Only, I wonder...
I hate you.
I wonder if you have out Nova Chaser and you use it to pilot something stupidly big, if somewhere Danger Zone just starts playing, just like not even on the radio, just starts emanating out of the atmosphere.
Oh God.
So green?
I guess. Yeah, let's do green.
Green
Spoilers.
has a bunch of stuff that could be.
I love Cloud Thresher.
Yeah.
I have zero idea if it's Mythic. I just love Cloud Thresher, like, as a concept. Plus,
It is
it's
super color specific.
Plus, it's green direct damage, which is just silly.
Yeah.
So what's Cloud Thresher do?
What doesn't it do?
My taxes.
That's true. What's
Or
it do,
green.
Dirk? Because you're all
It's a
green.
7/7. Yeah. So, for 2 and 4 green, it's a 7/7 elemental, flash, reach. When Cloud Thresher enters the battlefield, it deals 2 damage to each creature with flying and each player, and it has evoke of 2 and a green.
2 and 2 green.
You may cast this spell for its evoke cost. If you do, it's sacrificed when it enters the battle. It's sacrificed when it enters the battlefield.
Is this the first rare card with Evoke?
Yeah, first one we've come across.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Evoke was all over the place. Like this. Remember Mole Drifter? Oh my God, Mole Drifter
I
was such a good
remember Mole
card.
Drifter. That's why I was trying to remember if it was on new non-blue cards. But yeah, I very much remember Muldrifter.
Yeah, Cloud. The reason it does direct damage is because for some reason the designers thought, well, Hurricane dealt damage to creatures and players, so effects that do this should too, for some reason.
Yeah, basically. Because of the precedent that was set at the very beginning.
Yeah, which is silly. But they went with it for a very long time. But yeah, I mean, Cloud Thresher is ridiculous. You evoke it out to just clear out the flyers and poke your opponent and yourself, but that's not important. Or for just 2 mana more than the evoke cost, you get a 7/7. What? But 4
With
of that
flash.
is green, so you've got to be in the green.
A 7/7 with flash.
Yeah.
I think it could be. I think it could be. The more I look at it, the more I think it could be. I was kind of looking at Dauntless Dowerbark, but I mean,
He's got such a squished up face. I love him.
I remember Dauntless Dowerbark was something that I think just people were very excited over. Just because of all the, just everything on the card just adds up to something that sounds really exciting and good and cool.
Yeah.
It didn't deliver on all of that in practice, but I feel like it delivered on a lot. Dauntless Dowerbark for 3 and a green. It's a Treefolk Warrior with star power. So its power and toughness are each equal to the number of forests you control plus the number of treefolk you control. And it has trample as long as you control another treefolk.
And there were treefolk that cost as little as, I think there were a couple that cost 2.
There were a couple that cost 2. I think it was in a later set that there was the one that actually did cost 1.
The 0/3.
Yeah, the stuck one on the top of your library, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, there were enough lower cost treefolk to make for a deck that could actually run properly.
Yeah, I had one on one of those digital Magic games.
Hmm?
Didn't I?
Yeah, I think you're right. There was one of those Steam games that had a treefolk deck, or a deck that could become a treefolk deck.
Yeah, I think I played it on the 360, but yeah. Also, I think I had a commander, or at least a casual 60 card treefolk deck that ran Dower Barks and stuff for a good long while. I might still have it in a box somewhere. Who knows? "2014 had a treefolk deck. It was DLC." Oh, okay. There you go then. But yeah, the Dower Bark, like the fact that it counted your forest, like there's been a lot of creatures that have power and toughness equal to the number of forests you control, and that, all right, whatever. But the fact that it counted Treefolk 2, which means it counted itself, which I always found hilarious, and could get trample with just one other Treefolk around, it always felt like it should be really good. I don't know if that pushes it into Mythic territory. I'm thinking probably not. But I distinctly remember desperately loving Dauntless Dowerbark. Yeah. Not as much as Cloud Thresher, just in principle, but I played it a lot more. So anything else?
The Cloud Thresher thing sounds like we're all pretty in agreement of. Dauntless Dowerbark is neat, but not. Epic Proportions is kind of cool for an aura, but
yeah. Yeah, like, if we had to pick an aura to be a mythic, it would probably be that one, but I don't know if we have to, so...
Yeah.
I think we
But-
need to.
It gives a creature +5/+5 and trample with flash, which was just ridiculous. Because, I mean, there have been pump spells that do something like that, but they go away at the end of turn. Epic Proportions is still there next turn. What? But, nah. And then Eyes of the Wisent always seemed like it should have been, like, the most ridiculous blue hate card, but I don't know if anyone ever tried it, but it didn't catch on.
I think I tried it, and
Very
No.
narrow focus.
Yeah, I mean, it's a sideboard hate card, but I think that the fairy deck was just better than Eyes of the Wisent.
Yeah.
it was. The fact that they printed this at the same time as the fairies should have been like, oh, because that's a super powerful effect. But it didn't matter.
Yeah. So for 2 mana, 1 and a green, it's a tribal enchantment that says whenever an opponent plays a blue spell during your turn, that was the catcher, or the catch right there. You may create a 4/4 green elemental token. And I think that was the catch, was the during your turn.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, I thought it was just plays a blue spell, which would have been completely insane.
Crazy.
So,
Yeah.
It's been a long time. All right, shut up. And then we had some elves
Yeah.
that were really good, but not like mythic good.
Yeah. Masked Admirers was never good.
Oh, I
I'm
was
sorry.
thinking the magistrate and the perfect.
Yeah. And the perfect was an uncommon.
Oh, look at
Masked
that.
Admirers looked like it was supposed to be good, but it just didn't turn out that way.
Packmaster. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, Ren's Run
Yeah.
Packmaster was the pre-release card, right?
I think you're right.
Yeah.
yeah.
So, hey, Dirk, what's that do?
Which one was it?
The Packmaster.
Ren's Run Packmaster.
Okay. So for 3 and a green, it's a 5/5 elf warrior. It champions an elf. Yay.
Yay!
And when it does, for 2 and a green, create a 2/2 green wolf creature token. Wolves you control have death touch.
Yeah. Like, this card is kind of silly, but still not mythic? Still not mythic.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I forgot about the Timber Protector.
Yay, Timber Protector.
This is the other linchpin to the Alm Treefolk deck. Is a 4/6 that gave your other Treefolk +1/+1 and give your other Treefolk and Forests indestructible.
Was this the first set where they changed Indestructible to read the way it does now? Or no.
I don't think so, no.
I'm thinking of the wrong thing. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the wrong thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say that change didn't happen until way
Yeah.
later.
Yeah. Powerful effect, but you can still blow this one up until you play another copy. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I like the Dour Bark. I just love it. I thought it came in the next set, but nope, here it is. Look at it. Wow.
So again, Cloud Thresher and Vigor.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Vigor.
Well, just since that applies to every color, it's not a
Yeah.
huge thing. But
Yeah, I don't know. Again, like, I know that the Immaculate Magistrate was a nightmare in our group because Dirk would put it in his elf deck, and then make a creature suddenly like an 85/85, and we're like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
but that doesn't mean anything to other people.
Yeah. It's not something you can just be like, I'm just going to throw it in here and it'll do what it's. You have to build the deck around it. And it involves having a lot of elves. So the Imperious Perfect was great to play with it, the Magistrate.
Well, yeah. Yeah, like we lived under intense fear of Dirk's Timberwatch Elf, which just said tap to give an elf or give a creature +1/+1 for each elf you control or something like that. But the Immaculate Magistrate taps to put a +1/+1 counter on target creature for each elf you control. And it was just... Actually, I think the Timberwatch says each elf on the battlefield, doesn't it?
It probably does.
But again, not Mythic. Oh well. So, gold cards?
Gold cards.
Gold cards.
Gold cards are fun.
Gold cards are fun.
How, like, is the Horde of Notions just a Mythic just because? I think it is.
I think it
Yeah,
might be.
it is.
I think it might be. It's Wooburg, and it has a super kind of unique effect.
Okay, what is that super unique effect?
Well, it costs one of each color. It's a legendary elemental. It is a 5/5 with vigilance, trample, and haste. And the activated ability, pay one of each color. You may play target elemental card from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. And a set with tribal, mind you, so that elemental may look a couple different ways. And the ability to kind of recur from the graveyard.
And without
Over and
any kind
over
of
again.
rider about, oh, and then if it dies, it gets exiled or anything like that.
Exactly. So yeah.
Wow.
I think Horde of Notions could be mythic, and I have a question mark next to Gaddock Teague. I'm sure Brian Stout Arm, somebody's going to look at it for its name alone, because, I mean, come on. Brians are always mythic,
Even if they're spelled funny.
even if they're spelled funny. But, so Horde of Notions, what do we think?
Yes,
I feel
definitely.
like it's
Yeah.
okay. No real problem with that. And
Yeah.
then, what do you guys think of Gaddock Teague?
I don't know if they would have made it mythic or not.
I don't know.
Like there've been a whole lot of rare hate bears for 2 mana. Which is all
Basically a hate
he
bear,
is.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for a green and a white, he's a Kithkin advisor. And he was a superstar in formats he was played in. Non-creature spells with converted mana cost 4 or greater can't be played. And non-creature spells with X in their mana cost can't be played. So he was a hate bear. He shut down big spells.
Yep.
And that's about it. Like, he was always there, though. Like, I think in every format, pretty much, Gaddock Teague was a thing.
Yes, every format. Mhm.
But I don't... I'm trying to remember what they did with hate bears later, and I don't think so. But I could see them maybe pushing him just because.
Mhm.
But I don't know. What do you guys think?
I'm kind of struggling a little bit myself, so
Mike? I agree with Mike.
Yeah, maybe it's like 51% mythic. I don't know.
I'm okay to of the two, Horde of Notions is a much stronger contender.
Oh,
So-
yeah, I think we're going in addition to Horde of Notions at this point.
Dirk, what do you think? Did we lose Dirk to bed?
Probably lost Dirk to
It's-
mute.
No, I'm here.
I like the
Horde
way
of
none of us
Notions.
can get this figured out.
Horde of Notions it only affects elemental cards from your graveyard without paying their mana cost. Gaddock Teague, he at least shuts things down. I would almost say Gaddock Teague is the better card.
Well, I mean, better card, yeah, but
He is absolutely the more powerful card. There's no question about that.
yeah. No dying. But as always, that is the problem with this format that we've got here. Is it's not about power; it's about Mythic.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, as powerful as Gaddock Teague is, he's just a hate bear.
Yeah.
And I swear I don't think they'd have made him Mythic unless they were gonna do it to push the Mythic rarity. But since the way we're doing this is that Mythic would have been around since the beginning, that's not it.
Yeah, I mean he is a hate bear, but it's a big effect.
So if we don't bring up, just to get away from the awkward silence of Gaddock Teague, if we don't bring up Doran the Siege Tower, I think people will be angry, especially our mostly casual crowd.
Well, I mean, Doran the Siege Tower is absolutely a Mythic card. Fight me. So,
Oh,
Yeah.
well, that was easy. Really?
yes.
Oh, okay. Did you hear the comma you idiot at the end of that? Because I did.
So, Doran, for a black, a green, and a white, is a 0/5 legendary Treefolk Shaman. Each creature assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. We've seen this a couple times since then, but this was the OG. This was the guy that you really first saw this with, and he applied it to all creatures. And was he the first of the wedge creatures, period?
Surely not.
Maybe
period.
something from Legends.
Not in the game. Yeah, there were some that showed up in Legends, but this hadn't been done in a while.
This was the first time they really, I think, tried to think in a modern context about this is how these colors like actually play together on this creature, you know.
Yeah,
So
something that I think might go underappreciated for the Lorwyn block is that in its dedication to the tribal theme, it didn't try to shoehorn too much of another five of this, five of that structure in there and perfectly balanced across all the colors, because Kithkin was really just in mono white. Like giants were spread over red and white. Elementals were in all five colors. Tree folk were in white, black, and green. Merfolk were in blue and white.
Blue and
It
white.
was just all over the place, and they didn't go out of their way to make sure they were like. There were a certain number of them that were okay. It's this color and these colors, and they're balanced against each other. And they really let themselves do what they needed to do with the tribes and the colors they put them into. And I
Yeah, they
appreciate
didn't
that.
want this to be just differently flavored guilds from Ravnica.
Yeah. Mhm.
So they let themselves, screw around with it. Which is why, Doran is those three colors. Whoops. Doran is those three colors, black, white, green, because those are the colors that Treefolk were in. I think there were only like 2 black Treefolk, but that
Not
was
many.
enough.
Mhm.
And most of the others were across 2 colors, but the fact that Treefolk were in 3 and Elementals were in literally all of them with a heavier focus in red because that's where the
Flamekin.
Flamekin, thank you. I was like, they were Senders later. What were they called before the end of the world? Yeah.
Yes.
Like Ashling was a Flamekin. I guess basically they were differently flavored guilds except for the Treefolk and the Elementals. But that was enough to throw it off. And they really didn't focus on, like Mike said, balancing it to make sure everybody was equal. I think the design of this set was really great for drafting too. Cause
I think it was. They made a really conscious effort with that. So
because like you had your giants at the top end of red and white, and at the lower end of red you had the elementals and goblins, and at the lower end of white you had Kithkin and merfolk. So like a lot of times you'd hear something like, oh yeah, I'm in like red white Kithkin with a couple of giants at the top end. And you'd be like, oh. And it just worked as a format. Not that that's what we're talking about, but it really was
Right.
well made. Ouch. So okay, so Doran we think is just automatically mythic. Got it. For some reason Doran is such a plain effect these days that I didn't even think about it. Even though I don't think that's been done terribly often since then. He was also one of the first like superstars of the EDH scene because he was, as Brian pointed out, a wedge commander that before we had the word wedge really.
Yeah.
So many of the legendary creatures were either 2-color or 5.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it. So having this weird 3-colored guy with a unique effect, you actually built the deck around that. Which is what made him, an early commander superstar.
Doran was the commander that was in Kolfinar's urn that somebody blew up.
Yes, he was.
Oh.
Which made my whole deck kind of not work. So. And I learned a valuable lesson that day.
I was trying to figure out why you let it jump in the urn. And especially when Mike goes, are you sure about that? And you were like, yeah.
Because later it could jump out of the urn for free.
Or
under modern, actually under modern rules, it still would. You make the decision whether or not to put it in the command zone when it changes zones. So you'd still be stuck. So don't do what I do, kids. Don't put your commander under the urn. Just don't do it.
We'll get to the urn in a minute. Most of these gold cards, like chat was all hyped up about gold cards, but we talked about the 3 that were interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The rest are just sort of tribal 2-color things.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
so Horde of Notions, yes. Dorn the Siege Tower, yes.
Yeah.
Gaddock Teague,
still
maybe.
Borderline.
Yeah,
it's a definite maybe.
It's a definite maybe.
Oh my god, are you okay?
I'm okay.
But like Nath is fun. Wart Boggart Auntie is fun.
Hiccups.
I don't think you're okay. Sig is kind of lame. Widwin is just sort of there. Yeah. And Brian Stoutarm has he throws things and has lifelink, which is fun, but not mythic. Artifacts. All right, Brian. What is Kolfinar's urn?
Kolfinar's urn. Let me pull up the Oracle text here just to get the most accurate, so I don't have to keep reading removed from the game. For 3 mana, it's an artifact. Whenever a creature with toughness 4 or greater is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, you may exile it. At the beginning of the end step, if 3 or more cards have been exiled with Kolfinar's urn, sacrifice it. If you do, return those cards to the battlefield under their owner's control. So it's a nifty little sort of recursion thing, kinda.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
that is exactly what it is. I got nothing else.
Downsides, like, if it gets
Naturalized.
destroyed. Yeah.
I mean, it's a fun, neat little card, but Mythic, no.
Yeah. No, it's not. Just bringing it up because of our own history.
Yeah. Okay, what else?
I wonder about Death Render, just because of the effect and the wacky tricks that can be played with it.
Okay, what's that do?
So, for 4 mana, it's an equipment. The equipped creature gets +2/+2. Death Render equips for 2. And the important ability is, whenever equipped creature dies, you may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield and attach Death Render to it.
Huh.
So you could build up, you could just do it for value, or you could build up a chain of things just entering the battlefield, dying, entering the battlefield, dying.
Like evoke. Well, but that wouldn't
Yeah, that's
really
something else.
work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if you had that creature from Meriden Block, you could evoke a creature and attach the Death Render to it before it died.
You could.
But that's a whole that's a stretch. But yeah, it is neat. I don't know how mythic-y it feels for me either.
It's neat is a good phrase for it.
Yeah. The Dolmen Gate makes combat fun for literally just you, but that's not mythic. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to attacking creatures you control. No. So, okay, I had Rings of Brighthearth in mind as a mythic. What do you guys think?
Maybe.
So while they think, for 3 mana, it's an artifact that says whenever you play... let me read the Oracle text. It says, whenever you activate an ability, if it isn't a mana ability, you may pay 2 mana. If you do, copy that ability and choose new targets for the copy. So yeah, the ability to just up and copy activated abilities sounds like fun. And I do remember this was one of the big, like, previews.
Remember, I lost the question I was trying to ask.
I mean, with planeswalkers, it was great because you could copy loyalty abilities.
And I think that was part of the reason everybody was like, "Whoa!" was because we had these brand new activated abilities that already didn't cost mana, that you got one every turn, and now you could get it twice. And we were like, "Whoa!" So yeah, that one made my list for a mythic artifact.
I have always had a soft spot for 1,000-Year Elixir because I had a 1,000-Year Elixir deck, but I don't know. This set, I will say, this set was not afraid to push with some of these. Hey, we've never done this before, sort of ideas, right? Dorn the Siege Tower. Let's do combat damage based on toughness. 1,000-Year Elixir. Let's talk about skill haste, which is something that they have very rarely toyed around with even since then. So,
Yeah.
1,000-Year Elixir for 3 mana. You may activate the. Is it play? Stupid. Or I should just have the Oracle text up for everything. I'm sorry. You may activate abilities of creatures you control as though those creatures had haste, and separate activated ability of the elixir. Pay 1 and tap the elixir. Untap target creature to, in theory, activate their ability. And I had a deck that would have creatures that could also untap the elixir. So shenanigans. So, but is it mythic? I don't know. It was kind of a unique effect. It's kind of on the same line as Rings of Brighthearth, right? Like, just like, ooh, look at this neat artifact that lets you play in a way you're not used to.
Mm-hmm.
Thorn of Amethyst is just a hate card again,
Yeah.
and Twinning Glass is just weird.
I don't even know what
But a
that
couple
does.
can.
You may play one and tap. You may play a non-land card from your hand without paying its mana cost if it has the same name as a spell that was played this turn. Oh yeah, that is weird.
Yeah.
Oh no, no sir, I don't like it.
Couple possible contenders in the artifacts, but nothing that's like super obvious. What do we think of the Hideaway Lands?
I think they're kind of okay.
Yeah, they're rare.
Well,
I don't think
figured,
any of
but
them raises its head far enough above the others to be, like the one mythic among them.
Yeah.
the one mythic to rule them all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think Windbrisk Heights tried.
Eventually, Spinerock Knoll did, but that was much later.
Really?
Yeah, it was part of the Dragonstorm decks, wasn't it?
I think it might have been.
I have no idea. I just remember Windbrisk Heights was the only one that saw any sort of play at the time.
At first, yeah.
Because attacking with 3 creatures is not that bad.
Mm-hmm.
So the Hideaway Lands, for those of you that aren't old, the Hideaway Lands are lands that have the ability Hideaway. Let's see what the Oracle text says. So Hideaway is an ability that says, when this land enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of your library, exile 1 face down, put the rest on the bottom in a random order. They were later changed in the Oracle text to have enters the battlefield tapped added to them, as opposed to it being part of Hideaway, which I always thought that was really weird to have that as part of Hideaway, so I'm glad that they changed that.
Mm-hmm.
And then everyone has an activation effect to be able to play the card that's hidden away. So Windbrisk Heights says, pay a white and tap, and you can play the removed card without paying its mana cost if you attacked with 3 or more creatures this turn. Sheldock Isle said, if a library has 20 or fewer cards. That's the blue one. The red one is Spinerock Knoll. It says, if an opponent was dealt 7 or more damage this turn. Mosswort Bridge says, if creatures you control have total power 10 or greater. And then Howltooth Hollow, the black one, is the worst one, that says, you may play the remove card without paying its mana cost if each player has no cards in hand. Great.
I was trying to remember what the black one even did, because I don't think I have in my life seen the black one activated.
Yeah, the
I'm
fact
not
that it's
speaking hyperbole.
the fact that it's each player really kills it. If it was just me or just you, it would probably be okay. But the fact that it has to be both is just awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen any of the others. I know I've seen the green one and the white one activated.
I use the green one a lot.
And then the red one, like you said. Blue, I'm not sure
I'm
about,
the only person I know.
but it feels doable.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a little tough for ADH, but it's still doable. Commander, sorry, showing my age. The black one just feels dumb, and is especially insulting in multiplayer.
Yeah. So yeah, I think those are all rare.
Yep.
And the various tribal lands are fine at rare.
Yep.
Yep.
The basic land. Oh wait, why are the basic lands listed under a rarity search?
I mean, they're probably because they showed up in the secret layer. So I think we're gonna see them.
Oh, we're gonna see them forever, aren't we?
Mm-hmm. I'll check one of them. Let's see.
But yeah, going back to artifacts, like the Rings of Brighthearth and the Thousand Year Elixir are like close. Death Render is possible, maybe, but I think the rest are kind of lame. And there's a lot of fun cards in the set, but most of these don't like jump out at me as remotely mythic, which I mean seems to be the case, but for some reason, because of the nostalgia for the set, I had it in my head that there would be more.
I mean, there's a lot of fun stuff down in the commons and uncommons. It really made the set go.
Yeah. But the important thing is that the planeswalkers are mythic.
I mean, I'm kind of glad we said that right off the bat, because I feel it would have just been the biggest duh.
Yeah. We didn't talk about that ahead of time, by the way. Like that did not come up in the pre-show chatter at all. It just occurred to me as soon as I opened up the thing to start the episode. I'm like, we're just gonna skip these, right? So yeah.
But it was a fun set. It really was. And it was colorful, and it was a big departure from a lot of the like high fantasy / grim dark sort of stuff we'd seen, where, it's boggarts stealing pies from hobbitses.
Yeah, like one of the examples I always use is the discard card that's a fish with a brick strapped to it being thrown at someone's head.
Yeah, yeah.
And that sets the tone for the set in my head. This discard spell. Discard spells are always framed as like attacks on your mind, and it's a fish with a brick tied to it hitting you in the head.
Closer to like what Thoughtseize usually depicts.
Yeah, and like even Thoughtseize is just a fairy stealing a thought from your ear while you're asleep. Yeah. Like it's stealing a dream.
Which is creepy, but not the same as like, Phyrexians dissecting your brain creepy.
Exactly. And it also did something that hadn't been done before in that it made the elves the bad guys.
Yes.
Yep.
Not necessarily the villains, but they were dicks.
Yeah.
And it was just a lot of fun. So much fun, in fact, that when Shadowmoor happened, we actually lost a host.
Yeah. Because he was really upset by it, because I have come to appreciate his position more or less more as I've gotten older, of like, this was something he really cherished about the game and he thought was unique, and they did a 180. And they did the 180 on purpose, but still, I get it.
Yeah.
If that's what you loved, yeah. But that's a story for another day.
Yeah, we'll get to that in 2 more Mythic Conscriptions.
Yep.
So there you go, dear listener. Be sure to let us know in the Discord or on Twitter or whatever. Send us an email, I guess. If you think we completely screwed something up or missed something obvious or are just giant idiots. Or if you agree wholeheartedly. Give us some feedback. As content creators, well, I do anyway. I thrive on feedback. Also, it's really cool that Windbrisk, the hideaway lands turned into creatures later.
Yeah, I think that's really neat.
And like looking back on them now, it's like, well, obviously, except for the Mosswort Bridge, they're all pretty obviously a creature of some sort. Like, look, that's some sort of thing with a mouth open, and that's obviously a turtle, and that looks like a dragon sleeping, and that's obviously a bird. Mosswort Bridge, I don't actually know what's going on there.
Yeah, the tree is the troll's like hands, like the forearms pointed up and the hands splayed out at the top. The tree at the end of the bridge on the right-hand side.
Okay.
But you really have to know what you're looking at.
Yeah. Yeah, and when Shadowmoor came out and those were creatures, we were all like, oh, that's cool. Oh, nostalgia. All right, then. Shall we have the thoughts that are final?
Let's do it.
Okay, go for it.
I'm tired.
Hi, tired. I'm sorry.
It's been a little while since we've done a show. Well, we did a just chatting last week, but I'm trying to think if anything major. I mean, a couple things major have happened lately with family members and whatnot, but trying to remember if there's anything like since last time that has happened that I would really remember. I'm not trying to stall. Work has been absolutely insane lately. Just the worst. Not the worst. People, it's been tough for me, but I'm getting through. I think I'm just tired. All this week I have not slept well, so I'll probably be going in just a minute. But I am thankful that hopefully sometime very soon I will see some friends I have not seen in a while. Hint, hint. So.
Say hey to them for me.
Tell them
sure.
I said to go to hell.
I will do both of those things. But no, we have done Mythic Conscription for a long time now, and there's some episodes where I'm just like, eh. This really does remind me how much I enjoyed Lorwyn and how much just good thought went into this set. And I'm not gonna lie, reminds me just a little bit of like before Wizards did so much stuff that I just couldn't get behind. So I realized that they were doing things at the time that I didn't know about and wouldn't support as far as like their hiring and all that, but I guess it was a more innocent time for me. That's it. Hope everyone is doing well. Hope everybody's staying safe and healthy and all that good stuff. But otherwise, doing all right. Dirk? All right, well, I'm going to bed now while Dirk unmutes. Everybody have a good night, and I will see some of you very soon, hopefully.
Wait,
All right.
Aren't you going to see all of us very soon?
I hope so, but not everyone listening to the show, because that would be weird.
Yeah, please don't show up at Brian's house on
Yes.
Saturday at noon.
Yes, my address located at, Okay, bye.
Night, B. So, Dirk? No?
Yeah, I'm here.
Ah!
I don't really have any final thoughts. I'm tired. That's my final thought.
Hi, tired? I'm so sorry.
Well, I'm gonna head on to bed.
All right. Night, yo.
So, have a good night.
So, Mike?
Yeah, I don't want to just be a copycat, but I think the reason that I lost track of my thought when I was trying to ask you a question earlier is because I think I was dozing off. I don't think I dozed off in the middle of asking you a question. I think I started to doze off, and that short-circuited my brain, and I thought I had a question for you. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that thing where you wake up and you just say something that you hope is relevant to cover the fact that you might have just dozed off for a second.
Yes. Oh, but
Look, you
yeah.
just had 3 weeks off of the show.
That means I'm out of practice. That means I have no idea what I'm doing. But actually, Ashley and I did listen to the talk that you had with Bill one day while we were just sitting around and had some leisure time on the cruise, and it was really interesting.
Oh, the Pinkertons episode.
Yeah, the Pinkertons episode. Mm-hmm.
I was like, what talk did I have with Bill that you could hear? What? Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah, the chatting episode. And yeah, I learned some more details in your guys' coverage of it because I didn't do a lot of seeking out news on my own to get more details, but learned quite a bit more from what you were saying. It's like, yeah, that could have just them visiting his house could have turned way bad. Because you said it was in Florida.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Because if they were actually like forcing their way into his house, he would have been within his rights to shoot them dead. That would have just been awful.
Because Florida, where most things are awful.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, good old Wizards of the Coast and the Pinkertons and whatnot.
What a mess.
Which is why you notice we didn't talk about the Aftermath set at all, because it just seemed wrong to do the episode where Wizards of the Coast sicked known awful people on a dude because he was leaking the set, and then turn around the next episode and be like, so here are those cards, aren't they cool? Like, no. And I pitched that idea to the dorks, and they were like, yeah, no.
Yeah, no. I looked at the set once. I don't remember much about it.
I guess it's come out now, right?
Maybe.
I don't actually know. Well, the stories have happened and whatnot. So yeah, something about planeswalkers that were desparked.
Right. That's
which, is neat, but it's not like that's new. We've seen planeswalkers that lost their spark.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's new for these planeswalkers, but whatever. I lost track of the Magic story a long, long time ago.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they'll get their sparks back as soon as it's, marketable.
Necessary for the narrative.
Yeah. It's sort of like a character death in a Marvel comic. It's like, yeah, whatever. Give it a while. They'll be back. But yeah. So is that it for you?
Yes, it was.
Chat said bad timing for that statement because it was revealed or leaked or something that a certain Marvel character is getting a death in a not even in their own book coming up soon. A character who may or may not be the center point of a upcoming movie, and it's just the dumbest thing. But you know, they're gonna bring her back, so whatever. Because it's Marvel Comics, and they don't let characters die for very long. Marvel's really bad at reading the room these days. The comics side of things. But anyway. Also, the art on Ponder keeps making me think that this Merfolk has her boobies out.
Yeah.
And how have I never noticed this before?
I have no idea how you've never noticed that before. My constant question has been who signed off on this?
Yeah. Hopefully Twitch won't give us some sort of... Because I had it on screen a long time while we were talking about Force Fruition and Guile and Mistbind Click. Also, why do merfolk have boobies? They're not mammals.
My guess is that it because, you know, traditionally, like, merfolk, like, take and eat people. It's an adaptation to attract and lure human men.
I mean, in Earth, what's the mythology? Yeah, but like...
Oh, like in Magic?
Yeah, in Lorwyn. It's because they were humanoid, so they had to have boobies. Like, I remember we made a big deal about the snake people in...
Yes.
Oh,
in
God.
Kamigawa.
No. The later ones. The snake people that didn't have mammary glands.
Oh, right. Yeah, the Naga in Tarkir.
Yeah, because...
They were
in
actually
Tarkir,
reptilian.
really?
Uh-huh.
Oh. Because we were like, look at that. It's a female snake thing that doesn't have boobies. Ben is saying it was Amonkhet. I don't think it was Amonkhet. But Tarkir doesn't sound right to me either. But
that's where the Naga were an important part of the Sultai clan in Tarkir.
Oh, it was Sultai. Yeah, okay. So it was Tarkir. Got it. So, yeah.
But,
Uh-oh.
the ones in Amonkhet were a little more humanoidish in that way. The way, I think. I don't know.
I don't even remember snake people in Amonkhet, so...
Yeah, there were some snake people.
Shows you how much of that I was paying attention to. Or that I have stored for later, anyway. But anyway, so hey, I should do the sponsorship shout-outs before I forget, which I just had open and then closed because I'm stupid. So, let me thank our Mythic Lifeguards, because, you know, patreon.com/themanapool, you know, I have been churning out odds and ends lately, so that's the behind-the-scenes stuff from before and after the show, you know. But anyway, so let me thank our Mythic Lifeguards: Al, Kimho, Scuzzo, John Parker, Jake Janssens, Beardy Man, Team Hellas Haru, Jason Kaus, Andrew Hunt, Cody Buckowing, Casey, Pinball Witch, Jason Doan, Mr. Dr. Lewis, Connor Kennedy, ALK Alters, and Andrew Odie. And all of the rest of you listening and whatnot, watching, whatever, however it is you're consuming this content that we have created. Yeah. Okay, wait a minute. I think Ben might be right, because the Naga Vitalist, the link that he just dropped, is the one that I was thinking of when I said the snake creatures that they didn't give boobies to.
Oh, okay.
Did the ones in Amonkhet have boobies?
These are the ones in Amonkhet.
Not Amonkhet. Tarkir.
I don't... man, now I don't remember anymore.
But this is the art that was in my head when I said snake people that they didn't give boobies to. This is the most time we've said boobies on a single episode of the Mana Pool.
I think it might be.
Boobies. Okay. So my final thought, I don't really have one other than a streaming update. I finished Spider-Man Remastered. It was awesome. I got the last 2 achievements on that. I love that game so much. But instead of picking up Miles Morales and playing it, I'm going to start Doom 2016. Finally. As a matter of fact, I might start that tomorrow night, or I might start it next week. I haven't decided yet, but yeah, very excited about that. I'm still doing Resident Evil 4 because that is, for a game I absolutely didn't want to exist and didn't want to play, it's really good. And I'm gonna try to do all of the challenges and achievements and whatnot for it as well, just because, holy crap, it's good and fun. And yeah, I'm just over halfway through my 3rd run, and it took me about 3 hours. So I'm trying to get my skills down to where I can do like a professional run in 5.5 hours, because that's how you get the S+ rank and unlock the cat ears, which gives you infinite ammo for all of your weapons, as long as you're wearing the cat ears. So, but you have to do that on New Game, not New Game Plus. So you have to start a new file and beat professional in 5.5 hours with 15 or less saves. And that, yeah. That sound you made? Yeah. I've gotten down my,
So you just gotta charge forward and only shoot the things that absolutely have to be shot, basically.
Pretty much, yeah. And there are a bunch of places where, if you know what you're doing, without using glitches or anything, you can skip, like, sections or like special strategies for beating the boss or whatever. Like Salazar, you can kill by throwing 2 golden eggs at him, which is just insane. And but there are only 2 golden eggs in the game. One of them you get way earlier. If you throw one at him, it knocks off 70% of his health. So even if you only have the one that you got right before his boss fight, that helps. And like, for instance, there are several places where if you know the puzzle solution, you don't have to go find it. You can just, like, you can skip a large chunk of Ashley's section by just knowing what time to set the clock so it opens. Oh. And there's one point in particular where if you throw a flash or a frag grenade before a cutscene plays, then you can bypass a room that's just loaded with Ganados. So stuff like that will help with the New Game run on Professional. Ben says, and you can end the village fight early by shooting the bell. True, but you can't do that on New Game because you don't have a rifle when you start. But that is great for New Game Plus. If you don't feel like doing the nonsense in the opening village fight, you can just pull out your rifle, shoot the bell, it'll go bong, and everyone will stop, and he'll go, "Where's everybody going, bingo?" It's so great. But anyway, so yeah, I'll be doing all of the challenge runs on that on stream. I'm probably gonna stop streaming it until I get ready to do those challenge runs, just because, like, the run I'm doing now, I'm trying to both speed run and save up for the infinite launcher, which those two things don't go well together, let me just say. But anyway. So yeah, Doom is coming soon. Finally. More Vampire Survivors. Because I love that game also. And at some point, I'm going to start on Metroid. Like the 2D games. All of them. All of them. Sometime soon, I'm getting the urge to play some like 2D side-scrolling games. Because I've been in all these 3D games for so long that I'm starting to twitch. Not like the website. I'm starting to physically twitch from my lack of 2D games. Anyway, I'm gonna shut up now. So, this has been the Manipool number 677. I hope you all enjoyed our Mythic Conscription of Lorwyn. At least as much as we did. Thank you all so very much for listening. And don't lie about what's on your textless cryptic command.